Welcome, my friend, to Purrfect Sleep Stories. Gentle tales and quiet truths from the world of cats. Tonight's story, The Secret Senses of Cats. Settle in. Let the sound of purring surround you like a blanket of calm. Before we begin, let's soften the day a little with a few gentle breaths. Take a slow, easy breath in and let it fall softly out. Once more, in through the nose and out through the mouth until your body begins to loosen just a little. Feel the stillness beneath you, the soft rhythm of your breath, and the quiet company of the night. If you enjoy these moments, you can follow Purrfect Sleep Stories so new tales find their way to you each week. And if you're still awake as the story unfolds, I'd love to know where in the world you're listening from, or which cat is keeping you company tonight. The purring continues, and the story begins. In the quiet dark, a cat opens its eyes. The pupils bloom wide, gathering the dim light that most eyes would miss. Somewhere in that stillness, a tiny sound, too faint for human ears, stirs the air. The cat knows. The cat hears. For thousands of years, cats have moved through the world, guided by senses beyond our own. They listen where we cannot. They see what we miss. They feel vibrations, magnetic fields, and invisible trails of scent that map their world in ways science only recently began to understand. When you look at a cat resting, every movement seems deliberate. Yet beneath that stillness lies a universe of silent awareness. Each breath brings data, the brush of air, the scent of a familiar hand, the distant rustle of prey. Each sense merges into a single, perfect calm. Tonight, we'll drift into that world, the world of feline perception, where touch, sight, sound, taste, and smell weave together into something deeper, a sense of belonging to the night itself. A cat's ears are among the most finely tuned instruments in nature. They capture frequencies from 48 Hz up to nearly 85,000. By comparison, the human range fades around 20,000. Where we hear silence, a cat hears motion. Each ear can rotate nearly 180 degrees, controlled by more than 20 tiny muscles. This rotation allows a cat to pinpoint a sound's origin within inches, even in complete darkness. It's this gift that lets them hunt without sight, and that same gift that lets them sense when you enter a room before your footsteps touch the floor. Inside each ear, fine hairs called stereocilia translate sound waves into tiny electrical signals. These signals travel to the brain's auditory cortex, larger and more complex relative to body size than in dogs or even humans. This is why the sound of a food can opening, a mouse scratching, or a familiar voice can call them instantly to attention, even from sleep. Cats not only hear more, they interpret silence differently. Their brains are wired to notice contrast, the pause after a noise, the flutter between sounds. To a cat, silence is not empty. It's full of the possibility that something has moved, something small, something alive. Even in rest, a cat's ears make micro-adjustments, tiny twitches that track the faintest changes in ambient tone. If you've ever seen a sleeping cat's ear flick without the body stirring, you've witnessed this subconscious vigilance, a sense shaped by millions of years of evolution as both predator and prey. In the wild, these senses serve survival, but in our homes, they shape connection. A cat hears your heartbeat from across the room. They notice the rhythm of your typing, the sigh of your breath, the pitch of your voice when you call their name. They learn the sound of affection, how you say good morning or whisper, come here. Their world is layered in frequencies we cannot hear, yet their comfort in our presence tells us they recognize harmony. The hum of an appliance, the distant traffic outside, the low murmur of a television, all become part of their nighttime landscape. They curl into that soft pink noise of life and purr in response, resonating at a frequency between 25 and 150 hertz, a range that may even promote healing in bones and tissue. In this harmony between sound and stillness, cats find peace. And as we listen to them, our bodies slow too. Heart rate drops, breath evens, the nervous system follows the rhythm of purring until calm becomes instinct. We've entered through the ear, the first doorway to a cat's hidden world. But sound is only one piece of their sensory map. Beyond it lies sight, a twilight vision built for twilight, reflection, and the shimmer of motion. As the night deepens, we'll open that next doorway and see through feline eyes how the darkness is never truly dark. The night is quiet now. A cat opens its eyes and the darkness brightens. Where we see only shadow, the cat sees form, edges, motion, glimmer. To them, night is not absence, but abundance. Their vision was born from twilight. Cats are crepuscular, most active at dawn and dusk. Across millennia, their eyes evolved to drink light that slips past ours. The pupil, a narrow slit by day, opens wide and round at night, regulating brightness with exquisite control. In one smooth contraction, it can change size by a factor of 135 to 1, more than 10 times the range of a human pupil. Behind the retina lies a thin reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum. It acts like a built-in mirror, bouncing stray photons back through the photoreceptor cells for a second chance at capture. This is why a cat's eyes glow green-gold beneath lamplight or camera flash. That glow is not magic, it's efficiency. The retina itself holds 6 to 8 times more rod cells than ours. Rods sense light and motion, not color. So cats see in a monochrome world at night, but one rich in contrast and vibration. Each flicker of movement, each pulse of shadow, writes information into instinct. Color, for them, belongs mostly to daylight. They have fewer cone cells, which means reds and greens blur into neutrals, while blues and violets remain vivid. To a cat, your red sweater might appear muddy gray, but the blue bowl of water gleams like a beacon. For cats, motion itself is illumination. A tiny shift, a moth wing, a tail twitch is enough to spark pursuit. Their brains devote far more neurons to tracking movement than to processing still images. Where our vision rests, theirs listens. Even the whiskers above the eyes help measure motion, bending the air before an object arrives. It's a choreography of seeing and sensing combined, a dance between light, hair, and time. When a cat meets your gaze and closes its eyes slowly, it performs what behaviorists call a slow blink, a gesture of trust. In that moment, it is not watching for threat, it is resting within safety. The muscles around the eyelids soften, and the optic nerves quiet. To share that blink is to enter a small silence together, a shared recognition that neither needs to guard against the other. In many households, that single blink becomes language. A cat blinks from a windowsill. You answer in kind, and an invisible thread of calm links two species through stillness. Cats' eyes shift with light in ways we barely notice. In dim rooms, the world slows for them. Every surface glows faintly. Every shadow whispers direction. They see by contrast rather than color, by movement rather than outline. This is why they navigate seamlessly through darkness that blinds us, stepping sure-footed through spaces we must illuminate. When their pupils narrow to slits in bright day, the effect sharpens depth perception. Each slit acts as the aperture blades of a camera, controlling blur and focus simultaneously, a mechanism perfected not in laboratories, but in wild grasslands, long before humans took note. Through the eyes, we glimpse how cats read the visible. But beyond sight lies another sense even older, the scent-driven memory that defines home, identity, and belonging. In the world of cats, every breeze carries a story, every molecule a message. As the darkness settles deeper, we follow that current into the air they smell. The world of scent is the first language a cat ever learns. Before sight, before memory, there is smell, soft, invisible, constant. For a kitten, the scent of its mother is safety, nourishment, and home. That memory never fades. It becomes the map by which all other sensations are compared. Cats experience the air itself as textured. Each breath carries data finer than our eyes could ever see. Where humans have about 5 million scent receptors, cats possess more than 200 million. Their sense of smell rivals that of some dogs, though its purpose differs. Dogs track, cats interpret. They read the air like a slow book, page by page, with every exhale. If you've seen a cat pause mid-sniff, mouth slightly open, lips curved, eyes unfocused, you've seen the feline response. Behind the upper front teeth sits a small structure called the Jacobson's organ, also known as the vomeronasal organ, a hidden detector that samples pheromones and chemical traces too faint for the nose alone. By curling the lips and drawing air across this organ, the cat analyzes complex emotional signals: territory, stress, familiarity, fertility. For them, scent is biography. Every object tells a story. Every person, every room, every piece of furniture carries layers of time. Your scent changes with mood, with diet, even with the weather. They know all this without thought. It simply is. Unlike us, cats remember scent as spatial memory. They can recall where a smell was, not just what it was. A trail of perfume, or the trace of another animal, becomes a living diagram of movement through space. That is why a cat circles new objects, rubbing its cheeks and flanks against corners, not only marking territory, but harmonizing scents into a single, safe field. Within the scent glands on their cheeks, forehead, and tail base, they produce facial pheromones that signal familiarity and calm. When they rub against you, they are not claiming ownership in the human sense. They are merging identities, making you part of their olfactory home. Scientists have found that cats show visible relaxation when surrounded by their own scent markers. Their muscles loosen, their grooming increases, their heart rate lowers. This is why new environments often make them wary. The air doesn't speak in the familiar way. It lacks the chemistry of safety. So they create it, rubbing, scratching, sleeping, breathing, until the molecules around them match memory once again. Even human scent matters deeply. To your cat, your clothing, bedding, and skin are libraries of comfort. They sleep where you've been, not from possessiveness, but peace. In your absence, your scent keeps the room warm to them, proof of continuity in a changing world. Between cat and human, communication through scent is constant, yet unseen. You wash a blanket, they smell the difference immediately. You open a window, they catch the outdoor air and tilt their head, deciphering invisible travelers, birds, soil, passing rain. They learn to recognize you not only by appearance or voice, but by the subtle, shifting fingerprint of smell that no two people share. That awareness deepens with years, until even a whisper of your scent through a cracked door can summon them from another room. In scent, cats live inside memory, but their sense of space depends on something else entirely, a field of invisible touch that extends beyond their skin. The next doorway opens not through air or sound, but through whiskers, delicate instruments that read the atmosphere itself. A cat does not need to see to know the shape of a room. It only needs to feel it. Every whisker on its face and legs is an antenna tuned to the invisible. They read the air the way eyes read light. The scientific name for whiskers is vibrissae. Each one grows 3 times deeper into the skin than ordinary fur, rooted in a capsule rich with blood vessels and sensory nerves. At the base of every whisker lie up to 100 specialized receptors, tiny detectors that register the slightest bend, the faintest tremor in the air. When the wind changes, a whisker quivers. When you pass by, even without sound, a subtle ripple reaches them. It is through these constant signals that a cat builds a mental map of space, a 3-dimensional awareness so refined that they can walk a narrow edge in complete darkness without touching either side. The arrangement of whiskers is as deliberate as a constellation, 12 on each cheek, forming rows that measure width and distance. They extend roughly the width of the body, functioning as a living ruler to judge whether a gap or opening is passable. When the whiskers fan forward, the cat is curious or alert. When they pull back, cautious or content. Every emotion, every sensory decision writes itself first in whiskers. Even during sleep, they twitch in rhythm with dreams, perhaps tracing the remembered air of a chase or the imagined warmth of a familiar hand. Whiskers don't just sense, they move. Muscles at their roots allow cats to tilt, rotate, and spread them with astonishing precision. These movements, almost imperceptible to us, constantly adjust as the cat explores its surroundings. You may notice them brush a surface lightly before the paw follows. That's not hesitation, it's strategy. The whisker has already measured texture, distance, and airflow. Scientists call this sensitivity proprioception, the body's internal sense of position. In cats, it extends outward through every whisker, forming a bubble of spatial awareness around them. It's why they leap with confidence across dark rooms or land exactly where intended. There is, however, a limit. When whiskers are overstimulated, pressed too long against narrow bowls or crowded objects, the nerves can tire. This is known as whisker fatigue. The cat may shake its head, avoid eating from certain dishes, or seem restless without cause. To them, it feels like static, a gentle reminder that their sensitivity, while miraculous, demands respect. Providing wide dishes and open spaces is not indulgence, it's empathy for an ancient design. The same whiskers that once guided them through grass and forest now interpret the geometry of our kitchens and couches. Whiskers can even detect minute air currents created by movement. When a moth flutters in darkness or a door opens in another room, the air shifts just enough to speak through those fine hairs. It is, in every sense, a language of air, a silent correspondence between motion and meaning. In that still dialogue, the cat is never unaware, never blind. Their world is textured by pressure and flow, as if the atmosphere itself were an extension of their skin. To understand them, we must imagine living in that world, a place where every ripple of air tells a story. Through whiskers, cats feel the unseen structure of their world, but their sensitivity does not stop there. It reaches down through paw pads that sense vibration, through tongues that read flavor and warmth. Next, we'll explore how touch and taste intertwine to create one of the most intimate feline senses of all, the sense of safety itself.
Every sense in a cat's world is a form of touch. Even sight, even sound ends in sensation. Waves meeting whiskers, light meeting the soft membrane of the eye. But physical touch carries a power beyond perception. It is the bridge between the external world and inner calm. Cats live through texture. They remember the give of a blanket, the temperature of sunlight on tile, the vibration of your voice through the couch beneath them. Every surface becomes a signal of belonging or alertness. Under each paw lies a network of highly tuned receptors, tiny nerve endings that feel pressure, texture, and vibration. The skin of the paw pads is thicker than the rest of the body, yet sensitive enough to read the faintest tremor in the ground. Through this, cats can sense footsteps from far away, or the hum of an appliance before it's audible to us. They know the difference between the hollow echo of hardwood and the soft hush of carpet. Each texture tells them exactly where they are. This sensory feedback also shapes their legendary balance. Every landing, every leap is guided by the subtle conversation between muscle, bone, and the whispering contact of the paws below. Touch is also how cats speak affection. When a mother grooms her kittens, she's not just cleaning. Her tongue stimulates circulation, strengthens immunity, and imprints calm through rhythmic contact. Adult cats recreate this memory through mutual grooming or by gently licking your hand. The behavior is called allo-grooming, a social ritual that reaffirms safety. In these moments, oxytocin, the hormone of trust and bonding, rises in both cat and human. It's biology's way of saying, "You are home." A cat's tongue is a marvel of design. Covered in backward-facing barbs called papillae, each tip is made of keratin, the same substance as claws. These barbs act like miniature combs, catching loose fur and distributing oils. They also serve as a tasting tool. Cats possess far fewer taste buds than humans, 470 compared to our 9,000, and they cannot taste sweetness at all. Genetic studies show they lack the receptor for it. But what they can taste is the richness of protein, the subtle signatures of amino acids found in meat. Their sense of taste is tuned to survival, to detect freshness, nourishment, and warmth. The ideal meal to a cat is one whose temperature mirrors that of living prey, about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Too cold or too hot, and the message feels wrong. In the wild, cats often sleep in contact with one another, paws overlapping, tails entwined. This proximity maintains body heat, but also synchronizes heart rhythms and breathing. At home, when your cat rests against you, the same thing happens. Research shows that a cat's purring and body warmth can lower human blood pressure and slow the heartbeat to a calmer pace. To them, your steady presence is an anchor in the sensory sea. They feel your breathing through their fur. They match its rhythm, and their purr in turn entrains your nervous system into slower waves of rest. This exchange, the touch, the warmth, the sound, is mutual regulation, a silent form of healing. You calm each other without words. Through touch and taste, cats experience comfort and belonging. But beneath these gentle senses lies a deeper layer still, the internal compass that keeps them balanced and perhaps even connected to forces beyond our sight. Next, we'll step into that unseen realm, the cat's hidden senses of balance, vibration, and magnetic awareness.
Not every sense can be named. Some belong to the body's inner compass, to balance, orientation, and the silent pull of the earth itself. Cats seem to move by instinct alone, landing with precision, finding their way home across unknown miles, waking seconds before an earthquake or storm. For centuries, people called these gifts mysterious, but science now reveals that the mystery has roots in nerves, magnetism, and vibration. Inside each cat's inner ear lies a delicate labyrinth of fluid-filled canals, the vestibular system. It works like a living gyroscope. As the head tilts, tiny hairs inside these canals bend with the fluid's motion, sending electrical signals to the brain about position and gravity. This is what allows cats to twist mid-fall, righting themselves before landing. It's called the righting reflex, a feat so precise that even kittens develop it by 4 weeks old. They sense their orientation in space, adjusting spine, tail, and legs in perfect sequence before impact. The inner ear also governs balance on narrow edges. Where we wobble, they glide. Each movement triggers feedback through whiskers, eyes, and paws, all reporting back to the vestibular core. It's not magic, it's mathematics, processed through the body in fractions of a second. The vestibular system is wired not only to muscles, but also to the autonomic nervous system, the body's stress regulator. A sudden loss of balance can cause a surge of adrenaline. Steady movement restores calm. Cats intuitively seek stability. You can see it when they circle before lying down, aligning their body until equilibrium feels just right. Their instinct to perch on high places isn't arrogance, it's neurology. Elevation sharpens spatial awareness
and quiets the alert centers of the brain. From that vantage, they can observe without threat, and their nervous system rests. Beneath their paws, cats weed a world that hums. Their footpads and bones pick up seismic vibrations at frequencies below human detection. Long before a thunderstorm or tremor reaches us, the cat's whiskers, ears, and paws register low-frequency cues in the environment. This sensitivity once meant survival, knowing when prey stirred underground or when larger predators approached. Even now, domestic cats have been observed to react minutes before earthquakes, ears flicking, tails swishing, eyes alert to something unseen. The same ability helps them locate movement in walls or floors, sensing rodents or insects by vibration alone. Their bodies act as receivers in a network of subtle signals, translating the silent pulse of the earth into motion and awareness. Many migratory and predatory animals possess magnetic sensitivity, and growing evidence suggests cats do too. Microscopic crystals of magnetite, iron-based particles found in their brain and inner ear, respond to the planet's magnetic field. These may function as tiny biological compasses, helping orient the cat to direction, even in unfamiliar terrain. Stories of cats returning home across vast distances once seemed like myth. Yet experiments show that magnetic fields subtly influence feline navigation. When blindfolded cats were gently turned in rotating chambers, their preferred orientation aligned consistently with the Earth's north-south axis. The pull of the planet itself whispers to their cells. This geomagnetic sense doesn't replace smell or memory. It complements them. Together, they create a multi-layered map, scent for detail, sound for proximity, magnetism for direction. The result is a quiet precision no instrument can match. Legends once said cats see spirits or sense death. In truth, what they perceive are shifts we cannot, changes in electromagnetic charge, heart rate, or body temperature. A dying heartbeat slows, the air cools, static patterns change. To a cat's whiskers and fur, those variations are as tangible as touch. Their apparent intuition is not supernatural. It is sensitivity amplified by stillness. They are present enough to notice what most of us tune out. In that sense, perhaps the sixth sense means simply being awake to everything, to vibration, field, emotion, silence, to the pulse that moves through walls, wind, and skin. A cat's body is a receiver, and in its calm, it teaches us what awareness truly is. We have traveled through the world as a cat experiences it, through sound, sight, scent, touch, and balance, through invisible forces and the hum of the earth itself. But one sense remains, a synthesis of them all, the bond that joins their hidden world with ours. It lives in the meeting of eyes, in the trust of sleep shared between species. Next, we enter that final field of perception, the bond beyond words. At the center of every sense lies connection. For cats, that connection has always been both solitary and shared. An independence,
wrapped in quiet companionship. They do not depend on us to survive, yet they choose to rest beside us, to purr when we speak, to sleep in the rhythm of our breathing. To understand this bond, we must imagine the world through their combined senses, each tuned to patterns we barely notice, each translating our presence into safety and song. A cat recognizes its human not by sight alone. Experiments show they distinguish our voices from strangers and turn their heads toward familiar tones even when half asleep. The auditory cortex lights up as if mapping friendship itself. But hearing is only part of it. Your voice vibrates through air, through floor, through the very furniture they lie on. They feel its pulse in their paws, its warmth in the molecules that touch their fur. Your heart rate becomes a signal, a tempo they learn over time, as intimate as the sound of food hitting a dish. When you enter a room, their body already knows you're near, not through logic, but through 1,000 small frequencies woven into what you feel like. Every hug, every shared nap leaves behind a constellation of scent molecules, a private chemistry of familiarity. Your cat breathes this in and exhales calm. If you leave for a few days, the home smells different, thinner, quieter. When you return, they rub against you, restoring balance, rebuilding the olfactory story of us. To them, scent is proof that love has a physical form, that memory can be inhaled. Studies from the last decade have found that living with cats can lower blood pressure, reduce cortisol, and even slow the progression of certain stress-related conditions. The reason lies not only in affection, but in physiology. A cat's purr vibrates between 25 and 150 hertz, a range known to promote bone and muscle healing. When we sit beside them, our vagus nerve responds to those low, steady pulses, triggering relaxation, digestion, and deep rest. It is a duet of nervous systems, their body broadcasting safety, ours tuning in. The more we listen, the quieter our minds become. In that shared silence, both species drift toward equilibrium. Cats do not need words. Their communication rests in glances, posture, and timing. The slow blink we learned earlier, that unguarded moment when eyes close halfway, is the feline version of a whispered, "I trust you." In behavioral studies, humans who returned the blink were far more likely to be approached afterwards. The blink builds reciprocity, a bond built not on dominance or obedience, but on mutual ease. When you blink back, you are speaking their native language of stillness. You are saying, "We are safe here." For nearly 10,000 years, cats have lived in the periphery of human life, never tamed in the way dogs were, but aligned with us through mutual comfort. Ancient farmers welcomed them for pest control. Temples revered them as symbols of grace.
Sailors carried them across oceans as companions and omens of good luck. Wherever people settled, cats followed, not as servants, but as quiet witnesses to civilization. They adapted their senses to our shelters and our sounds, yet kept their link to the wilderness intact. When a cat sits at a window at night, ears twitching toward the dark, they bridge both worlds, our artificial light and the ancestral rhythm beyond it. Modern research into animal-human co-regulation suggests that empathy may be a cross-species phenomenon, a physiological conversation carried through hormones and heart rhythms. When your cat needs your lap, your skin temperature rises slightly. In response, their heart rate steadies. When you stroke their fur, your oxytocin levels increase, mirroring what happens between parent and child. The bond becomes a loop of care. They calm you, you calm them, and both bodies remember. This is the essence of the feline gift, not supernatural intuition, but deep biological attunement. To live with a cat is to share a nervous system tuned to peace. There are moments when a cat seems to vanish into the room, so still, so blended with its surroundings that it becomes part of the air itself. That stillness is their native state. It's how they survive and how they heal. We often fill silence with thought. Cats fill it with presence. In their company, our own senses begin to mimic theirs. The eyes soften, the breath slows, the hum of pink noise merges with the purr, and the boundary between awareness and rest blurs. If we could perceive as they do, the world would feel larger, layered with signals of scent, vibration, and magnetic pull. But perhaps we don't need to master those senses. We only need to listen through theirs. When you watch your cat sleeping, you are seeing perfect trust, a small creature of instinct, surrounded by stimuli beyond human measure, has decided that beside you, the world is safe enough to surrender. That is the greatest compliment nature can give. We began in sound, the world below our hearing. We passed through moonlit vision, through the air of scent and the currents of touch, through balance and magnetism and memory. Each sense led us deeper into understanding not only the cat, but the serenity that comes from perception without judgment. In learning how cats see the world, we rediscover how to be in it, alert, soft, present. They remind us that rest is not absence, but awareness without tension. So as you listen now, let their purring fill the quiet. Let the pink moy's hum become the breath of night itself.
The story drifts to silence now, but the purring remains. You can let it stay with you, soft and steady, like a thread of warmth through the dark. If you've already slipped into sleep, that's perfectly fine. Let the sound hold you where words have ended. And if you're still awake, feel how quiet the body has become. The breath moves on its own, slow and sure, like a tide that's found its rhythm again. Somewhere, a cat is sleeping too, ears relaxed, paws curled in peace. The same calm that fills them is finding its way through you. You've spent this time listening through their senses, hearing, seeing, feeling the world the way they do. Now all that's left is the hush between heartbeats and the hum of comfort that never really stops. Rest where you are. The purring continues, and the world grows quieter still.